This is directions on how to complete the Handwriting Without Tears preschool screener. It's out of the green Get Set Get Go book. The first page looks like this with some common objects and shapes. And the second page looks like this with some letters, numbers, and then a space in the bottom. So in order to complete this assessment, you'll need a standard pencil. You'll need crayons, which are the colors red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. And you might want an extra pen just for yourself as you go along. It's very self-explanatory. You start at the top, number 1, and it has directions right on here. Name the 6 pictures. So you'll just point to it and say, what is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? And at the top, it actually has on there the different objects. So you would just check yes for an apple, yes for a carrot. Sometimes if they say something else, like for grapes, a lot of kids will say strawberries. I might just write in there to the side that they said strawberries or write it above. The next is to name 6 colors. So I'll hold out the crayons and I'll hold up the red one and ask, what color is this? And then the same with orange, yellow, green, blue. You can mix them up. But again, there's a spot just to do a check mark if they were able to identify those basic colors. The next is that they can color 2 pictures. So you're going to have them hold the crayon and you're going to, sometimes I'll let them pick, or sometimes I'll say color the carrot, which is a little simpler, and then I'll say color the tree. So I'll have them color 2 pictures, and you're just going to kind of look at that. Do they, there's a couple of parts to this. The first one is, do they use fill-in coloring? So are they just kind of scribbling, or are they actually trying to go back and forth and fill in the picture? The second part of the question says, do they stay within the lines? And the answers for that are yes, somewhat, or no, or not yet. So those you would just check those answers. Then you also mark how they hold their pencil. So do they hold it standard, so using their 2 or 3 fingers? An alternate would be if they hold it with 4 fingers, or if they hold it kind of like in between their 2 fingers, that would be an alternate. And then if they use their palm, that's going to be either if they have their fist up or if they hold it with their fist down. You mark which hand they used, so left or right, or there's a spot on here that has a question mark. So if they switch hands, or if you notice that they use their right hand sometimes and their left hand sometimes, you might mark that question mark. And then do they use their helper hand or hold the paper while writing? So if they're writing with their right hand, do they hold the paper with their left hand? And a lot of times when we're working with preschoolers one-on-one, we might hold the paper for them. So this is an opportunity just to step back and see if they're able to hold the paper. Next, you're going to have them identify the shapes. And this assessment is Handwriting Without Tears. So they do the language from Handwriting Without Tears. So this is just a line. This is a line, circle, cross, square, triangle. And as they say that, you would just mark whether they are able to identify those correctly. Again, sometimes for like the line, they might say a 1. I might just note that they wrote a number 1 in there just for my own reference. The next step, this number 5 here, says to name and trace. So then you're going to ask the students to trace on the line. And you just want to see, are they able to, for the most part, stay on the lines? And then again, there's a little check box that you'll mark. Next, you want to know, can they copy shapes? This is just kind of looking at basic visual motor skills. So, a 3-year-old should be able to copy a vertical line, a horizontal line, and a circle. They're going to have more difficulty with some of these shapes. A 4 to 5-year-old should be able to trace these, or it should be at least emerging. So that just gives you an idea of what's developmentally appropriate. On the next page, and I usually print it not double-sided, just because I will often have them draw a picture of a person on the back of page 1. That way, as they're drawing the person, you can check the body parts. So they're looking at the 10 basic body parts, and then you can just check head, eyes, nose, mouth, ear, hair, body, arms, hands, legs, and feet. And if they add any details, sometimes I'll make a note over here to the side. Next, we're looking at letter recognition. And because this is preschool, they're looking at First, just basic letters that are commonly found in students' names. So that's where they get these letters from. They're just kind of looking for an idea. You could obviously do a more thorough assessment that identifies all the letters and numbers, but you're going to go through and you're just going to point to these out of order and see if they're able to identify the letters. And then the same with the numbers. And it's real easy. They already have put things out of order, so you just have to kind of follow in a row and you just check yes or no, or make a check mark if they did it. And if they maybe said another number, like if they said, a 2 for 5, then I might mark a number 2 in there just so that we know kind of that it's emerging, but they're getting those confused. And then the last part of the assessment is just asking them to write their name. So you'll say, put your finger on the smiley face. Now I want you to write your name next to the smiley face. And so you'll just see if they can do it. Sometimes kids, especially 3 or 4-year-olds, are not writing their name independently. And there's a lot that goes into that. They have to remember, they have to know how to spell their name. They have to remember the order of the letters. So sometimes I'll ask them first to do it on their own. If they're not able to do it on their own, I might write it for them and just see if they're able to copy it, because developmentally that shows us a lot. If you have any other questions, please let me know. Thanks.